thinking. Critical thinking while you edit. It's not the most popular thing to do lately. There's a lot of things that you're going to have to exchange for it. Most of the times, an unwilling exchange. You're going to give away your popularity. You're going to give away being understood, amongst other things. And obviously, you're going to have to develop an appetite of being called several things. Oh, well, I know. I have been called a charlatan. I have been called heresy. I have been called a lot of things. I've been unfollowed. I've been unfriended on the social media platforms and on real life basis. At first, it was very challenging. I must say, because I'm a human being, a social being, it still presents a lot of challenges even up until this day. But the pain is not as severe as it used to be in the beginning. Because I've since learned that people will like you, will love you, will appreciate you, will befriend you, so long as you doing, saying, behaving according to the things that they know, according to the things that they believe in. The moment you jump ship and try to do something different, act differently, behave differently, questioning a lot of things start to change. But then I started studying and I wanted to find out, why is it that people push back things they don't understand? Why is it that people resist the new information? Why is it that people resist change so much? And it didn't come as a surprise after I've learned that even the people that came before me, even the people that came before us, were subjected to the same treatment. I'm talking about the likes of Galileo. I'm talking about the likes of Shakespeare. I'm talking about the likes of Copernicus. There's a lot of people. They've been ridiculed before. Oh, Tesla. I actually just did a bit of a study on him today. So, people have these monuments of beliefs that they will do anything by any means necessary, protect it, even if it does not serve them. The only thing that they're looking for out of it, it's it not changing. It has went beyond being comfortable. So long as it does not change, it suits them well. You know, I love making up this analogy about my daughter, the young one. Sometimes she'll run around the house than when she used to have nappies. And I mean, as a parent, you can tell if number 2 has taken place, even though the other fellow is trying to lie at you. And at some points, I will ask her just to get the feel. What, a baby girl? Did she make a poo-poo? And she will deny it. Not because it makes her comfortable. It is heck uncomfortable. You better believe that. But remember, the nappy that carries that number 2 is keeping her warm and still in motion. Because for me to change her, she's going to have to start all over on a cold nappy, and I would have interrupted her line of play or a line of concentration. It is exactly what happens with us as human beings. We don't want to change because we love the way how things have always been done. And while we edit, this is what I want to leave you with before I get to the gist of my message. The fact that you are not aware of something, the fact that you haven't heard about something, the fact that you haven't experienced something does not mean it doesn't exist. The best thing that you can do for yourself, if you're looking into growing, if you're looking into enriching your experience, if you're looking into finding a true purpose of why you're here, if you're looking to find a fulfillment in life, do yourself a favor. Be open and flexible for anything new. And I'm by no means suggesting that you should take it as is. Because in this journey that I've since taken, there's something that I've learned and picked up which is very dear to my heart. There is an element of truth in each and every single thing. So you discarding it, you pushing it back, does not make it useless. Which is why I'm suggesting or putting it up on you that become flexible. That will allow you to be teachable. Because even the philosophers, even before our times, one of them once said, I think it was Socrates, if there is one thing that I know for sure, is that I know nothing. End quote. So don't be going around thinking you've seen it all, you've heard it all, you've experienced it all. No, you haven't. And the best thing that I can tell you, what you can pick away or you can take away from my channel, or the things that I talk about, or the things that I post, don't believe them. Don't take them at face value. All that I'm doing, I'm detailing my personal experience, hoping that that will encourage someone out there that has been bashed, inundated by the common things, by the common practices. Because you know it yourself on your soliloquy that some of the things that are being done on a mainstream, some of the things that are being practiced on the so-called mainstream are pretty much questionable. But we don't want to question them because they threaten our wallets. We don't want to question them because they threaten our warmth. We don't want to question them because they might take away our poo-poo, which keeps us warm and comfortable. No, not comfortable exactly, but you know what I mean. So if you want to grow, consider not pushing back the information that you haven't heard of yet. Now, what I want to talk about today is divide and conquer. I'm challenging yet the mainstream idea here. Stay with me. The moment when you say there's a good and a bad side of something, there's a right and a wrong side of something, there's a light and a darkness of something, you are imposing the so-called division. There are apparently 12 laws of the universe. One of them is the law of polarity. I'm not quite sure when Raymond Hollowell, Bob Proctor, when they adopted these laws and made them very dear to their hearts, were they aware that imposing polarity, it's a beginning of problems. I'll tell you why I say that. Every single emotion that you are experiencing, every single feeling that you're going through serves a purpose, carries a message. But the moment when you start labeling them good and bad emotions, you push back the message that the so-called bad emotions are carrying. That is why you will experience one emotion over and over and over and over and over again. Because if there's one thing that I've learned, particularly about emotions and feelings, they will never leave you until you get the message. So if you are a person that normally struggles with rage, sadness, anger, grief, look no further why you always experiencing the same emotion. But you have to look at why do you call them bad? It's not bad. The same way polarity is killing us when it comes to our emotions, it does the same thing on a literal basis when it comes to religion. There's Hinduism, there's Christianity, there's Judaism, there's Buddhism, there's Taoism. You call it whatever that you want to call it. Yet at the same time, religion teaches or advocates that we praying to the same God. Why do we have to integrate the polarity when we traveling the same route? Why? And you know, my heart bleeds when I speak about this one of religion, because we have people that are killing others in the name of religion. Now, in your sensible mind, you have to understand how absurd and appalling that is. I can't even understand why would people do that. When it comes to color, when it comes to race, the moment you say we are different, you are imposing trouble amongst us. Now, I'm going to try to make this thing as simple as possible, because I'm going to take things a little bit higher now to show you that we are all the same. Me, you, your dog, the bird, the fridge, the phone, the clothes, the lights, all of us are all the same. We are one thing. We just happen to be trapped in different forms. We just happen to be trapped in different boxes. If I don't address this to the context that you understand, tune in to my very upcoming video because I'm going to be addressing this issue. It's going to have a little bit of quantum physics in it. It's going to have a little bit of spirituality in it, just to show you that we are all one. This issue of separatism, this issue of polarity, this issue of black and white, this issue of good and bad does not exist. It is nothing but a tool of mass destruction. And if there's a time that we need to question it, it's now. Because as is case in point, what we're facing currently in the world, it's war on racism. Racism wouldn't thrive if there was no polarity. So we are all the same. This thing of saying the other tribe is better, the other ethnic group is better, the other religion is better, the other whatever it's better, it's nonsense. Just to close it up, I can't do justice with it on few seconds. That's why I'm saying tune in on the next video. We are made, just on scientific basis, I'm going to try to be as basic as possible. We are made of molecules, protons, atoms, and all those other things composing our bodies, and a whole lot amount of cells. Our body is nothing but just a community of cells that are piling up together. But what makes a cell? What makes a cell is those things: molecules, atoms, and protons. Quantum physics says this on a very basic level. Don't misquote me on this one. When you take an atom to break it down to what it's called a subatomic level, you wouldn't be able to see it with your naked eye, so you will need microscopes, whatever the technology, for you to be able to see, because it somehow kind of like disappears. But when you break it down further, it disappears all completely. Even the microscope cannot be able to pick it up. Then the very same thing that was solid then, if you break it down, it becomes a wave, it becomes a vibration, it becomes something that cannot be seen. But then the same thing makes me, makes you, makes the fridge, makes the phone, makes every single thing that you can see with your naked eye. So what does that say? All of us, we are made of that thing that's not seen. We are just moving so fast that you can see me speaking here, you looking at me, my name is Tsidiso, you listening to me with the same ears that necessarily, technically don't exist, but just happen to have taken a form of this guy here. Sounds crazy, ain't it? But that's exactly what you need to realize. The moment when you appreciate that fact, you'll attest to this thing that says, when somebody angers you, when somebody ill-treats you, when somebody does not treat you well, it is not that person that does not treat you well. It's not that person that does not respect you. It is not that person that makes you angry. You are the person that makes yourself angry. Because as you're looking at me now, you're seeing the reflection of yourself. You just happen to hear me speaking this thing that I'm saying, which you're making up in your head. Critical thinking. Thinking for yourself. Relying more on experience than the mainstream common ideology. It's not cheap. There's a price that you pay for it. Amongst it, being misunderstood, and being misunderstood. And like I said on the last video, for those that are busy pursuing the truth if it ever exists. For those who are pursuing the experience, which of course I know it does exist. For those that want to morph out of the religious, morph out of the common practice, morph out of the mainstream way of doing things, even after being bashed, but you're still keeping on it, I take my hat for you. I salute you, because at the end of the day, at the end of all this, or at the back of all this, we are all one. We are striving for the same thing. But I want to leave you with this. So long as your perspective it's on an outward things, focusing only on your five senses, measuring your worth with the things that you own, if they don't own you, you'll find it very difficult to even start to comprehend what is this that I'm talking about. And hear me right. I'm not saying you should be a caveman. I'm not saying you should be primitive. You can still pursue the truth and be relevant. But obviously there's a price that you need to pay, so be prepared to do that. And the biggest one is critical thinking tends not to make money. Critical thinking, it is measured by how many things you can do without. Tune into the next video. I'll be talking and unpacking the quantum physics, a little bit of what I've touched on when it comes to the protons, the atoms, and all these other things. I'll dedicate a good amount of time on tabling it down, and I'll share a little bit about my spiritual journey as to how did it become that my thinking has developed to this, which I know one thing for sure. Once I started with this, or I've been made to realize something for sure once I started with this, is that I know nothing. So the greatest task or the greatest journey that I'm traveling now, it's unlearning rather than learning. Don't believe anything that I say on this channel or whatever that I said today. Go and check it out yourself. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. If you have, thank you very much. Nyabonga. See you on the flip side.